Khaled Kaim, Senior Advisor, Presidential Council of Libya. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
It's for me as a journalist, or I don't know if I am not in the right way, a pleasure to have a representative of Libya because everything's happening in Libya, or if we can say that Libya is going up, overcoming the situation. Well, welcome
Yes, of
to
course. Thank you very much.
welcome to this forum
Thank you very
because
much. This is my second time to participate here as a economist, as a politician, as academic, and also as Pan-Africanist. Because since my youth, I was very much connected to Africa through youth organizations, student organization. Even when I studied in UK, I was very much involved with the African diaspora organization in UK and in the West in general.
and which is your opinion about this summit, Africa Spain Business Summit?
Yeah,
You
this is
you
my
can
second participation.
you
Last
can
year I was
say.
here. Yes, this is good opportunity, but really I was hoping that we see more Spanish in this forum, more people from private sector, from the government sector, from academia as well, from universities, from think tanks, because dealing with Africa is a huge subject. Africa is the mother of all resources and the mother of all opportunities. So you know that a lot of people around the world, they are going to Africa. Most of them, they are opportunistic. They want to generate money and they walk away. One of the painful things about what those people doing in Africa is spoiling our soil and eating the money of Africa. They are not doing anything for Africans. Spain doesn't have the bad history with Africa. And also there is a positive factor, which is the geographical proximity and also the connectivity with Morocco, Algeria, Libya, Egypt, Tunisia, because of the history with some other African countries on the western coast of Africa. So if you capitalize on that, I'm sure that Spain can do a lot. So it's very easy. You can help Africa, as I said, because of political arrest, because of state fragility, because of corruption. You can be very cautious by employing local staff. A lot of Europeans and Americans, they employ local staff. They supervising the work, they investing some money with the locals, with the banks. There are a lot of foreign banks and African banks. Libya, one of those countries doing inter-Africa investment in different sectors: banking, agriculture, tourism, agro-processing, oil as well. We have oil Libya companies, big companies, especially in East Africa. So I think Spain has to move on that. As I said, for the language barrier and cultural barrier, you can invest some money on teaching Africans Spanish language. You know, British Council doing a lot in Africa, especially now. The cost is cheaper than before. You can do it virtually with the very few number of people around Africa teaching Spanish, plus employing their virtual means to teach language. Also creating some joint ventures. You have, I think, 2 banks here in Spain. They work on that. Plus you have Repsol. Now any oil and gas, now they have an initiative in Africa for 20 years. So Repsol can do the same. Other companies, CIPSA or other oil companies, they can invest some money from their social responsibility funds. So that will generate a lot of opportunity to Spanish SMEs, Spanish corporates, Spanish government agencies as well. I think the opportunities, the stake is very high in Africa. I think the only place can help with minimizing and keeping the prices of food low is Africa. It's through the food security programs and also through the manufacturers. Of course, the problem, there are problems, inherited problems, for example, skills gap, technology gap, lack of funds sometimes, state fragility, corruption, political arrest. But a lot of people, they're doing business in Africa now. If you go to any African country now, you see a lot of foreigners from India, from China, from Europe. They are
We
doing.
have to change our mentality. You said in your intervention, it's not charity, it's investment, our business. We must change our
Change, yes,
mentality
yes.
and have the conscience that the stability and progress of Africa is the stability and progress of Europe and the world.
Yes, of course. I mean, the only thing can prevent famine in the world is Africa because of the food security there. I mean, the resources, the land, the soil, the water, the climate, and also there is an opportunity to mitigate the climate change effects. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why your government has to do some work on that, plus the businesses as well. It's not rocket science. It's very easy. You go there, approach people, and employ local staff. Not if you go to Nigeria, you can employ people from Egypt, from Cote d'Ivoire, because in Africa it's easy for people to communicate with locals there and with government, and prevent a lot of chances for corruption. I mean, when you employ local people. And also partnership is possible. I mean, there are banks, foreign banks, and African banks, and local national banks. They are ready to invest. They have a lot of money, and you can see and study those joint projects with some European and Americans, Chinese and Indians. They do a lot of projects financed and funded by banks, either African banks or foreign banks or in partnership. So I think the equation is not complicated, but you have to have the gut, the motive. I mean, to take the first step. Really, Spain has a lot of, I mean, potential to play a role in Africa. I mean, one of the things I wanted to talk about, export push. This is what Africa needs. When we do manufacture in Africa, so we take products, finished products, or half-finished products, or unfinished products. We need markets for that. Spain, because of it's a coastal country, and they have the capability for, I mean, exporting and re-exporting. That's another opportunity for Spain. So it's easy. I mean, we are, as Africans, we can help because I deal with the economy not as a trader or as an investor, but I mean, I have the interest to help my mother continent, my country as well. So we're ready to help. Maybe if you can have a small think tank, they can really formulate policy of Spain on that matter of investment in Africa.
Immigration, who is creating a very big problem in Europe with the elections, but of course the people from African countries,
Especially for Libya.
of Libya, better is that people can stay at their homes because they have jobs, they have a good horizon, good life.
Sure.
Because in
That's
Europe
what we
now
want,
it's a
actually,
problem.
especially Libya. You know, some European friends, they want Libya to play the role of a police to stop those Africans who crossing crossing the Sahara. Most of them, they die because of the hunger, because of the thirst. So they want Libya to play the role of police. Libya, I think, as a Libyans, I mean, we cannot play that role. Since Libya was under occupation, was under colony for years. So we cannot play that role, but we can play the role of a mediator, play a role as an actor to help Europeans to invest in Africa instead of pushing people because of lack of jobs, because of poverty, because of political arrest. They flee to Europe. Why we push them to flee to Europe and create problems here, and social arrest here, political arrest as well, and also a demographic problem in Europe, economic problem. So it's better to keep them there. In 2010, I was there at that time in charge of foreign affairs of my country when we had a summit, third summit between African Union and European Union. We told our European friends that go and invest, start with 5 billion US dollars or euros. Invest in Africa, create projects for locals, for, help government to create policies, how to deal with poverty and lack jobs. So, no, they said no. Instead, they opted for charity work. They want to play the role of donors instead of being partner to Africa. Now we see people dying in the Mediterranean, dying in Great Sahara, and then they facing problem in Europe, as you said, an election. Now the right wing, they are making, I mean, more popularity. And for Africans, it's not in our favor. It's not in our interest, because what we so call it, brain drain. We educate people, we spend money on them, we train them, and then they flee to Europe. Why? We need them to stay in Africa, to be part of the development process, of the economic transformation, of industrialization. That's, you can help with the minimum contribution. You can help with that, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. Invest some money for 3, 4, 5 years through your businesses, through big corporate like Repsol, Eni, Total, and those big, huge companies who are really making a huge profit out of Africa in gas and oil and other sectors. So go invest in local communities. So you keep people there. I mean, help them, encourage them to stay. They want to stay with their families. They don't want to take risk by fleeing their countries, and most of them, they are really dying in sub-Saharan Africa. They die in the Mediterranean or being imprisoned. Why? And then those who manage to leave, to reach Europe, then they face other problem, which is integration. Integration issue is another issue, and also create economic problem here, political problem, integration problem, social problem, demographic problem. So this is my call, my appeal to our European friends. Please go and invest in Africa. That's a debt you pay back, and you protect your communities as well. It's not only paying the debt because of slavery, because of colonialism, not only that, and also you protect your social cohesion. Countries like Libya, Morocco, Algeria, I'm sure that they will help, and Egypt, those who they have better economic situation. Really, they can help with that. Okay. Instead of asking us to play the role of a police. We cannot play that. As a Libyan, we will fight against that. Even our government, if they decide to play that role, I'm sure that most of the Libyans, they wouldn't accept that.
Khaled, Kaim, thank you for joining us. Very interesting.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm pleased to be here. And I hope that next forum will be wider and bigger. So we have more Spanish companies and from think tanks, from universities, from government agencies, and as well we have to invite people from East Africa and South Africa, because what I have seen today is more or less from Western Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you.